Joyful Christian here. Joyful Christian Hermit here. I'm trying to do better. I've been trying to get up more from bed. I have my head is still all out of kilter. My coughing is less. I highly recommend NAC. This I got it from Amazon, recommended by LS, one of you guys. And it's been helping me. I've been taking it, I think, for 4 days now. And then Dr. M, my pain doctor, said to get this Highlands leg cramps. Actually, what it is quinine. And you take, I've taken 2 to 3 tablets under the tongue and drink liquid, and it dissolves. And it helps with, if you have COVID coming on or if you're even starting to get sick. That doctor, he is excellent. He's a pain doctor, but he'd been an anesthesiologist. He's very sharp, very intelligent, and older man. And maybe even 60, 59 or 60. Doesn't look it. He looks great. And he's got a couple of kids in high school. So he's a young-looking older man, but in great shape, in physical shape. So he takes this whenever he's starting to get sick. This Highlands leg cramps. Get it at Walmart, he said. But then he looked at me, he says, well, you're too weak to even walk in. I said, yeah, just got to get home. That was last Friday. And I haven't driven since, haven't even tried. My head is too filled and I'm off balance. And it could be my neck. So I've been doing a lot of praying, and I did a video last night. Twice I tried it and I just didn't like it. I will try again another time with the topic I had. It's too many different little topics, but some of it was just the ugliness of what can go on with people. And I just decided not to go there with it. I want to discuss some of it at some point, but not yet. And maybe not then, maybe I won't. But I don't know why these people even bothered sending me this 4-page, this represents $2, not including the paper. This nice heavy 4-color print paper. They'd had a professional photographer, plus an envelope, a donation envelope, printed both sides. And they had sent me stuff, it's been maybe 12 years ago, I don't know, and it was the same line, and I went to their Facebook page. I kept getting them. That, I think it was like an 8 or 12-page letter I got, begging letter. And back then, I contacted them and said, here is this beautiful convent, gorgeous, on acreage, already built in the early 1900s, 1924, had been totally remodeled, beautiful bricks, mission style, but with bricks. Gorgeous antique chapel, small chapel, and a huge chapel that was more contemporary, 1960s. And the grounds gorgeous, overlooked a river, but it was dying out. The convent was dying out. They could have had that for a song. Already done, remodeled, and they had acreage upon acreage to build if they grew and grew and grew. With the small chapel, the big chapel, a huge lovely kitchen. They had a chef there, and then this big dining room, and then they had their old smaller kitchen and smaller dining room. If they wanted to run retreats, they could have used that section of the convent. Then this whole other section, and they had a health care all developed, done, ready. Buy it, use it, move in. Stop sending these begging letters for 15 years. It's been going on probably. But no, they want their own. They totally ignored. So I wrote, but I was offended by this. The cost of these mailers that I was getting one after another. And they didn't like what I wrote on their Facebook page. Because I took offense at this whole notion. We wish to share with you our deepest desire to, in bold print, to give to our suffering and crucified Lord a home, a place of refuge, a monastery where he may be praised and loved, and where his sacred heart may take his delight. Does Jesus want another brand new monastery when convents and monasteries are out there with them dying out? People can buy them for whatever. There was a gorgeous one up in Canada that a New Age group bought and uses it to teach more New Age stuff. But they retained the Catholic name to fool people. And it's New Age. So, and then they quote, in this one they quote Teresa of Jesus. Jesus is not without a home. Haven't we ever heard of Christ in us? Jesus in our hearts, and we in him? Haven't we ever heard about the Eucharist? And every time we receive tangibly and also spiritually, which we can do any moment of every day, we can receive him spiritually, the Eucharist in us. He's not suffering and without any home. He doesn't need a refuge. He doesn't need a monastery where he can be praised and loved. I praise him right here. I praise him anywhere I am. When I drove, I take the dogs out to pee and poop. And then anytime at Mass. Or visually, I visualize myself at Mass. There's a tabernacle there. But no, so now they don't quote her directly. They're trying to bring Teresa of Avila into it. Teresa of Jesus said that for a soul that truly loves Christ, its pleasure is in imitating the laborious life that he lived. Therefore, we have joyfully decided to forego all luxuries, electricity, and technology, which is not essential for contemplative Carmelites, and to build him a beautiful dwelling of stone and timber with thick walls and low ceilings, so as to reflect the simplicity of our lives of faith. They say they've completed their phase 1 and 2 of the monastery. So now they're turned their eyes to the main chapel. However, bold print, we presently lack the funds to begin this work. It goes on and on and on. It's just all these 4-color print photographs. Building a solid and humble monastery. They have it built around a traditional courtyard with the church standing in its center, following in the footsteps of our Holy Mother, St. Teresa of Avila. No, they aren't. She went out and got run-down houses, practically dilapidated, or they were given to her, they were so bad. Cleaned them up with the few other sisters, used what money they could scrape together, or some man would come along and help fix horrible parts of them. They used their little buckets to pee and poop in, and didn't even have an outhouse back then. No, they're not following in her footsteps. Don't give me this. I just get disgusted. And why they got so mad when I wrote about all this on their Facebook. Now, I didn't go into this detail, but I talked about Jesus is in us. He is not alone and bereft, needing a place. And it doesn't have to be a brand new one, but no, they want their own. And I know construction. I know what all these stones cost. It's a bundle, a huge bundle. And this is just asinine. It's offensive. And they just keep wanting more and more and more. And they're still trying to get women to join them. See, it's just ego. I'm fed up with women and their egos. Their sick egos. And pride. Wanting their own. When they're all these, that was 15 years ago or 12 years ago at least. I was still in the Midwest and knew that this convent was seeking someone to buy it. Beautiful. Gorgeous. Quite usable. Ended up, the town uses it now for their, I think I heard something, they paid maybe 50 or 100,000 for it, just a giveaway. And the women, the nuns gave away like 80 acres of their land to some group that would, wants to keep nice land. I don't know what they did with all of their woods. Beautiful woods, hardwood trees. And if they sold off that, I don't know. I think the town has it. They have their social work offices out there. All the rest, the healthcare center isn't being used for anything. Or maybe some nursing home is, I don't know. I should probably find out what they've done with that healthcare center. That was nice. Huge, big chapel, plus that gorgeous antique chapel, probably stripped out. But, no, they could have had it. They could have been in it. Wouldn't need to ask for a penny to build all this garbage. And saying that they want to, what was that? Oh, good grief. That our foundress, St. Teresa of Jesus, said that for a soul that truly loves Christ, its pleasure is in imitating the laborious life that he lived. Therefore, we have joyfully decided to forego all luxuries, electricity, and technology, which is not essential for contemplative Carmelites, and to build him a beautiful dwelling of stone and timber with thick walls and low ceilings, so as to reflect the simplicity of our lives of faith. Somewhere else, so that they said that it wasn't necessary, but that she liked that. So instead, then they evidently, have fireplaces in everyone's room. I don't know how they stay warm, but there's their, see, look at their humble little chapel. Do you realize how much that cost? Inlaid wood floors, hardwood floors. Quality. Big rafters up there. Those stones alone are pricey, pricey, pricey. Big stained glass window, marble altar, beautiful wood chairs, carved chairs. They have a dining area, a living area over there. It looks like a $10 million home sitting there, all these windows, and I guess they weren't going to be that humble. They wanted to have all those windows. I have windows. I like them. But I'm not pulling this guff, trying to act like I'm all, going to live and foregoing all luxuries. It's a luxury to have windows to look out. So I don't know what's wrong with why they would send this, because I was attacked. I just brought up this thing about Jesus wasn't alone and bereft. He had tabernacles all over in our hearts also. Wherever there's a human being, there's a tabernacle and Jesus is in it, right in us. And that it was unnecessary. I said you can buy this place for next to nothing. So they show this kitchen and more beautiful bricks and all. I don't know. Keeping in line with the local historical architecture of the Gettysburg area. It's using only the authentic materials and craftsmanship of our forefathers. Stone masonry, timber framing, slate. Oh my gosh. That costs. And plaster are used to recreate the simple and humble style of our American heritage. That costs, plastering. That's artisan work. Does Jesus need that? Did he want that? Did they bother asking Jesus what he wanted? Well, I didn't send any money. I'd like to send to Nigeria to feed people, to help a girl get an education. And I don't care what religion she is either. Father Vincent's witnessing to that family. But, they bring in John of the Cross now, too. Oh, he'd roll over. Just something else. And they just go on and on here. Just undertake to lead an austere and laborious life, which reduces their needs to the essentials. Choose to live a simple, retired lifestyle, largely free of modern conveniences, comforts, and technology. Carry out their monastic life in the context of the farmstead milieu. Trust in divine providence for their sustenance, relying entirely on alms and in-kind donations. Suckers who give money for this. If they really want, they could have. I'm sure there was some farmhouse in the area that was fallen down that they could have gone into for not much and lived and suffered it, if that's what they wanted. But this is brand new, beautiful. I don't know if you can see this picture. An architect. They had to hire an architect to do all that. Just even something like these alcoves all done in brick and stone. And the angles. And on the roof, do we have probably tile or something fancy? But just these flyers that go out cost a bundle. So I just don't get, oh, look at this. This is their recreation room. That's the one with all all the windows, the hardwood floors, all the wood walls. For paned windows, beautiful light fixture, gorgeous wood floors, wood benches. So, stained glass. And for money, they'll pray for you. So, I'll pray for you all free. Maybe my prayers aren't that good. Probably not. So, and then of course here's the envelope. Send your money. Send your money. Right there. Building our future, one stone at a time. So, you put your credit card, do your credit card on this. They give space for that. Cash or check. Or online you can pay too. But, they didn't send me any of these for all those years. I'm just amazed they have that nerve. I'm not going to go to their Facebook and write another comment. They had my comment, what I thought of it. And it's quite the place, I will say, in the farmhouse milieu with the architecture of Gettysburg and our history, American history. So, I guess that's what matters, is having a lovely place. And then talk about sacrificing and how humble we are going to live and forego modern conveniences. I did that for nothing on the farmhouse for 5.5 years. There with the rats and the rain coming through and all. And best 5.5 years I spent. Taught me a lot. Really brought me into my hermit life. But no, I don't know for sure, but I don't think St. Teresa of Avila thought that was the way to go, or she would have done it. She would have had nice palatial places and brand new. Isn't it how we are? We want brand new. We want our own. I ran into that in a diocese that new bishop came first time. He was a brand new bishop, even hadn't been a bishop before, and he wanted to make his mark. So he had a friend who left his religious order. He was Franciscan, wanted to start his own order. It's like the Protestant upstart churches. There's so many Catholics who want to start their own religious order. Joining another one doesn't work. They want their own. So they are out trying to find buildings and things. And fortunately, though, they had some churches that went defunct. So they stayed in one of those in a parsonage or something. But they wanted to go very austere. So it was winter in the Midwest, and they went barefoot, wouldn't wear sandals, expected everybody else to pay for their cut feet in a city. We were in a city. There they were walking around with no shoes, no sandals. And so they had some injuries, but then they would go around. They decided that they wanted a certain kind of food. So they'd put it around in the parishes, and they wanted just certain meats and certain things on certain days. Wanted roast beef on Sunday. So they would go around and they had a handout list, a list of things that they would eat. And people were supposed to donate. I'm talking about lower middle class neighborhood. And it was a Catholic neighborhood, very much so, parish there. And they were given the priest quarters to stay in, and had use of the kitchen or something, but they didn't make their own food. The parishioners were expected, and it was only certain cuts that they wanted. I will never forget, for this one Sunday, they wanted roast beef. And the people in the neighborhood were supposed to go out and buy roast beef. People with families. They wouldn't want other food. They didn't want ham. They didn't want chicken. It had to be roast beef. And they had other particular then for their other meals through the week that people were expected to provide because they wore habits and they looked the part. Well, they had people joining. This is the bishop was, the retired bishop was my director that year. He was so worried because a father had come to him. That outfit of maybe there were 8 men or 7 men, not many. New ones. They came with just the one guy, the friend of the bishop, who left his monastery, left his order and wanted to start his own. And he had 2 other people, and by then, and in the little city area, they picked up a couple more. And they wanted to, they had a retreat. They were trying to get people to join. So they had the high school boys for a weekend with their members. And the member, the bishop, he was so upset. He said, find out for me what's. Well, of course, I always find out what's going on. I don't want to. It's like I just run into these things. It's like I collect them. Cruddy stuff. This teenager, had been hooked up for the whole weekend with a convicted felon. He had gotten out of prison, and this group took him in and put a habit on him, called him brother or whatever, and he was in the order. And the kid went home, and he had been linked with this felon all weekend. The guy was dressed, they called him brother or whatever. And the father was horribly upset because the son was upset. He was scared. This guy was talking about his prison experience, and what he was in for wasn't very good. You don't want to have kids with that. But they were desperate. They would, and that's good. Jesus would take anyone, yes. But I don't think that Jesus then would link up a 16-year-old boy with this guy who had just gotten out of prison like 2 months before. But they were so desperate that the men were the guy who wanted to have his own order, that he took the prisoner and he was out, the ex-con, and I'm sure he had to go to his parole person and made him a monk. But I got to credit the convict for talking about it with this kid, but scared him. And it was inappropriate. It was an inappropriate situation. And the retired bishop was just worried. And he says, but I can't do anything. I said, yes, you can. I said, he says, no, that would seem like it was interfering with the new bishop. And I could see the predicament, but I said, this has gone too far. But God took care of it. They were gone within a year. They were done. I don't know where they went. They weren't getting people to join, and that didn't go down well. I'm sure that father told other people. don't let your kids go to their weekend retreats. So it's just sad. You know what? I don't know what we think about, what we're thinking. And I'm sure wealthy people, it gets sort of, I don't know, as if I think people feel like they're doing something very holy by giving, they don't think it through. They haven't read Teresa of Avila or know how she started her foundations. And it wasn't that way. When they got alms, it was to buy some teardown to live in. And this other group, these Franciscans, forget what they called them, some different, another branch of Franciscan he was starting. And they finally gave him a place to live. Like I said, this parsonage, it had a huge lot. But would they plant any seeds to make any of their own food? No. They weren't going to do any work. They did no work. But yet they would send people around to pick up choice meat, whatever they wanted, whatever they decided for their menu for the week. And these parishioners were expected to give it to them because they looked so austere. And they had a girl component to a female component. And they went around in their bare feet. And it's just not sensible. Oh my, I can't imagine, how sick I'd be if I didn't wear socks and shoes. And then they expect people to take care of their medical. And Catholics feeling like they've got to. Oh, they've given their life to God. Well, you've given your life to God, or hopefully so. We all should be living basic and, simple lives, prayerful lives. I don't have desserts. I don't. It's just, I live a very lean little menu. Of course, I can't eat much, just simple. I can't stand up to cook anything much, so I grange eat, and it's been very healthy until I caught this from the young neighbor man 8 weeks ago tomorrow. And I'm still sick. And I got up this morning, I can feel the sickness in my body, but my lungs are better. I'm so grateful. But honestly, this place called, it's in Fairfield, Pennsylvania, Carmel of JMJ, they call themselves. Jesus, Mary, Joseph, I guess. And then they have a architectural drawing of the church they want built. It's lovely. Well, I sold some toothbrush heads. So I've got $30 to help with Nigeria. But I'm going to pay my neighbor. She deserves more, but I'm going to give her $150 for all the shopping and the cooking and the food and driving me places. So, and it should be $300 I should be giving her. But she hasn't asked for a penny, but she deserves it for her selflessness to me. And she comes over, leaves stuff on the porch, picks up the containers, and it's cold out, and so And if I can finish this place, see, this is my income here. This is why I've been working on this place. It's not so that I can have some nice place to stay in it. It was to sell and to use that money, then eventually to have enough money that if I needed health care, I could pay for it. Nursing care. My neighbor has kept me out of the hospital. Well, if I were in the hospital, they maybe keep me a day or two and say, well, you've got to go to a nursing home. We're not a nursing home here for people to recover when they're sick and live alone and can't function well. But she knew, I'd have to board the dogs. The dogs are an expense I should not have, I admit it. But they have helped me to keep going, forced me up. I think I've mentioned that before. 3 years ago, this spring, I could no longer make myself overcome the pain to get up. I was in bed till 3 in the afternoon most days before I could get the stamina to get up over the pain, as I have loads of pain even though I take pain med. It's arachnoiditis is rugged, and I am fortunate because pushing myself has made it so that it didn't progress as fast. Because most people would have been long since bedridden. But I've got to credit these dogs for forcing me. I got the second one because the first one didn't make me get up till like 11:30. And she got very lonely then when I got sick. So this way they exercise each other. But they're a cost. Feed them. And so, and if, like Lovey had an ear infection, so that cost me. So I feel guilt about that. It's a luxury. But anyway, I just wanted to blow that off. It bothered me. And I will try to send them an email. Don't send me anymore. This cost them at least $2. Well, $2 for these. I looked it up. And the envelope, the printed both side printed envelope, I don't know what that costs, but they obviously have loads of money if they can send all this stuff out. And then they get money back because guilty Catholics, and they think, oh, it's going to be authentic, like Teresa of Avila. So therefore we want that, or it's making the church better. They don't stop to think of all the convents and monasteries that have just gone for next to nothing, for not, used for companies or businesses or New Age group. New Age Education Center is what it is up in Canada. And they've got one in Asheville, North Carolina, but they were able to pick up this monastery in Canada for an extra place. They're doing so well. Their New Age business is doing so well. So we need to consider that. If we don't use these monasteries that have already been built, solid as a rock, 1920 construction plus 1960 construction of the big chapel and the healthcare center, and big kitchen and dining room for this other phase of this one that I told them about. But no one listens to me. I've known that. But at least I tried to say, hey, get this. This was back before they had, I think they were just building phase 1 then. But they've got a chunk of land and they've got your help is needed. No, it isn't. Use your heads. Be real Carmelites. That's all I gotta say. God bless Israel. And I think Teresa of Avila wouldn't like it. She wouldn't hold back. Bunch of nonsense. As my uncle, the judge, used to say, they've got more sense than they've got sense. More CENTS from other people who don't have sense, who send their sense to them. These people have more money than they've got common sense and humility. Nothing wrong with an already built convent in a beautiful setting, very quiet, 2 states over. It was a brand new startup. Somebody wanted their own order. You might look up and see how they even got going, but yes, we want religious life, but we're all supposed to have religious life. And yes, if they want to do a convent, but good grief. Don't send me your junk, your begging letters.